Happy Black History Month. I'm very, very excited to welcome you all today to this 1 hour conversation where we will explore the visible and invisible systemic barriers that continue to shape financial access, wealth building, and economic mobility for Black communities in Canada. While offering tools, strategy, language for both Blacks and non-Black participants to become ally in building equitable financial future. Now let's get started. My name is Karin Bado. I am the programming and event manager here with the Canadian Women's Chambers of Commerce. My pronouns are she and her, and I welcome you today from the lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dini peoples, and home to the Métis Nation, covered in Treaty 1, colonially known as Winnipeg, Manitoba. The Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce is the first and only chamber of commerce for women identified and gender diverse business owners self-employed in Canada. As a chamber of commerce, we represent your needs with the government, and our position and title as a chamber gives us access to people who might impact change. We exist to improve the quality of life of over 1 million of Canadian women and gender diverse business owners, self-employed through advocacy with policymakers, and we aim to build a healthier and more inclusive Canadian economy. We are here to amplify the stories and the voices of women identified and gender diverse entrepreneurs and to fight for their economic equity. So now for today, let me introduce you to the host, the CanWCC member, Alexia Kitoko. Alexia Kitoko is the founder of 123 Finance, an international financial literacy company operating in Canada and France. She's bilingual, English and French. She's a financial literacy educator. She's a speaker, a media contributor whose mission is to make money education accessible, engaging, and culturally relevant. With over 10 years of experience in banking and wealth management across France, Luxembourg, and Canada, Alexia has worked with leading institutions such as Natixis Wealth Management and the RBC Wealth Management, supporting high net worth individuals and diverse communities on their financial journeys. So today, through 123 Finance, Alexia partners with corporations, non-for-profit organizations, universities, and community groups to deliver interactive and gamified financial education experiences from women game nights to team building, money talks, and microgrant. She's passionate about supporting Black immigrant, Francophone, and underrepresented communities. Alexia uses a trauma-informed and inclusive approach to help people gain true confidence with money. So thank you so much, Alexia, for joining us. This is your moment to take over now for the rest of the day.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Karine and Liz. Thank you so much for the beautiful presentation of myself and my mission. More than a business, it's a mission. Thank you so much. Can you see my screen properly? I'm just gonna present. So hi, everyone. Welcome. Happy Black History Month. Super happy to be with you here today. Feel free to scan my QR code. You know everything about me now, so feel free to scan my QR code. You have all of my information. I'm super active on LinkedIn or Instagram. This is where you can follow my work, my mission, all the events I'm part of. So today is a conversation about breaking the cycle, a money date on systemic barriers, access, and financial healing. So it is not a lecture, it is not a panel, it's really a conversation between you and me. So I'm gonna ask you to be active in the chat, fire the chat. I might ask you questions, we might have to talk, to interact together. So don't be shy. It's also nice to see familiar faces. Thank you for being here, and also even the new faces. I'm super excited to get to know each other. So I'm going to start with the land acknowledgement. I'm based in Toronto, so I'm going to do my land acknowledgement. Do not hesitate to do yours. We recognize that the land on which we stand is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat. Today, it is home to a diversity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. This region is covered by the One Spoon Wampum Alliance, a treaty between Aboriginal nations to share and preserve the resources of the Great Lakes in a spirit of peace and harmony. We're grateful for the opportunity to live, work, and connect on this land, and are committed to honoring the ongoing governance and teachings of Aboriginal peoples while fostering respectful and reconciliatory relationships. And then an ancestors acknowledgement, super important more than ever, even if it's a happy Black History Month, but those conversations are important actually throughout the year, not only during Black History Month. So I would like to take a moment to honor the ancestors who came before us. We recognize the wisdom, strength, and resilience of those who've paved the way, shaping the path we walk today. We recognize that the sacrifices, struggles, and victories of our ancestors are intimately linked to our lives today. We carry their legacy in our actions, words, and dreams. With the recognition, we express deep gratitude for their constant presence and guidance, honoring their contributions and spirits that continue to influence our path. And last but not least, just a quick disclaimer that I'm a financial literacy educator, not a financial advisor. I cannot advise you to do this or that. It's just a conversation about financial healing. Okay, so today's money date purpose, as I told you, today is not a lecture, it's not a panel. I'm not going to be talking for an hour. It's a space I'm holding for you, a safe space for you to reflect on what's going on currently in your life, what happened in the past, and what will be going on in the future. It's a conversation, an honest conversation. It's here to raise awareness and also to emphasize accountability, which will lead into action. So when I'm talking accountability, I'm talking about the accountability for Black people and non-Black people, because we all have a role to play in this situation. Okay, so to start, we're gonna do some money affirmation. I'm huge on money affirmations because my mission is to break any past financial generational trauma, those trauma that are passed from generation to generation. And we know that the relationship you have with money, it has been shaped by, your education and your parents and your past histories. So we're going to do some money affirmation. Those money affirmation are not just money affirmation that you have to repeat. It's the more you repeat it, it will train your mind to be ready to put an action plan in order to achieve those state of mind. Okay, so I'm gonna repeat those affirmations and feel free to repeat it after me. You can stay muted, no worries. I am worthy of financial security, access, and opportunity. My financial journey is valid even when it looks different from others. I release shame around money that was shaped by systems, not failure. I deserve to be paid fairly for my time, skills, and contributions. I am allowed to learn, unlearn, and grow financially at my own pace. I trust myself to make financial decisions with the tools I have today. Access to money, resources, and support is something I deserve. I can build abundance while honoring my values and my community. Breaking financial cycles is powerful even when it's not easy. I welcome financial empowerment, healing, and growth into my life. And I'm going to repeat this one more time because it really hits home. I welcome financial empowerment, healing, and growth into my life. Amazing. So let's just take a second to take that in and just process it so that our mind can actually process everything. I saw some images. I saw some people doing the affirmation. So thank you so much. It's those affirmation. I created them for you regarding the situation and the theme of today. But you can definitely customize those affirmations and try to find affirmations that are really speaking to yourself and your situation and what you're willing to achieve for yourself and your loved ones in the future. Okay, so now let's do a quick icebreaker. I have the chat open right there, so I'm gonna make you work a little bit. This icebreaker, so there's a question here. If money was a person, what kind of friend would it be to you? So let's put it in the chat. Juliana says the needy but responsible friend. Love that. Needy but responsible. Who else wants to share? Do not hesitate to unmute yourself if it's easier for yourself. Let's take 1 minute just to let people give the time to people to put it in the chat. But I love that first answer, Juliana. Liz, two-faced friend. Love it. Do we have any ghosting friends, avoidant friends? Best friend. Okay, it's pretty positive. I love it. A fairy? Faiza. A friend that always has a toolbox with him. I like it. The one who says you only live once. I love this one. Yes. Yeah, a fairy, une fée. Merci, Faiza. A bestie who doesn't live in my city but is amazing when we get together. That's cool. That's a cool friend. Amazing. Okay, I love all of those shares. Please keep them coming. That's one exercise I made you do, and I do this often when I do financial talks. It's just for you to take a minute to have the awareness of what is your current relationship with money, because we all have a relationship with money, whether we can be, a spender, or we can be avoidant, or maybe money is taboo because in your family, no one were talking about money because in some culture, money is for evil people. It's bad to talk about money. I know in my culture, in the Black culture, in Congolese culture, for example, we don't really talk about money. It's taboo, right? So all of that has shaped my relationship with money, but also my parents, the way they talked to me, the way they acted with money, and also my education. I went to school and fortunately I learned about financial literacy and all that. But also the past experiences, it can be issue that you had with money, financial issue, divorce that led you to money issue and all that. So all of it is shaping your relationship with money. So just taking some time to asking yourself that question. If money was a person, what kind of friend would it be to you? It's the awareness that will lead to awareness and to action. Okay. So thanks so much for the shares. Um, After that, now we talked about money affirmation, relationship with money, money mindset. I want you to understand that you're not responsible for your financial trauma, nor the systems working against you. I repeat, you're not responsible for your financial trauma, nor the systems working against you. But you're responsible for the actions you take to change your situation. You're responsible for the actions you take to change your situation. That line is super important, right? Because the way your parents educated you are not on money, the way system is working for or against you, it's not your fault, it's not because of you, it's not thanks to you. However, the way you're acting within that society is your responsibility. You need to be accountable for that, whether it's using the resources you have now, whether it's helping, empowering others, whether it's talking, speaking about money, educating people, asking questions, raising awareness. This is our role. We need to be accountable and responsible for that. Okay? And this is what I'm doing right now. I have this financial knowledge, even if with the financial trauma. So I'm deciding to empower people through fun and engaging financial literacy and to break those past generational trauma so that the future generation, I don't have kids, but I have a niece. She's 2 years old and a half, 3 years old and a half, sorry. So my niece, I don't want her to have the same financial generational trauma that I had, right? So the trauma has to stop with me and with you too. Okay, so now we talked about money mindset, relationship with money. We're gonna talk about the more tangible things, which are systemic barriers that are happening in Canada, in USA, in the world, wherever in the world, right? It's Black History Month, so it's the amazing time to talk about it, even if we should talk about it every single month. So the access is definitely not equal, right? Whether we're talking about access to credit, access to ownership, employment discrimination, how to buy a house, ownership, or rent a house, we know that we were not born all with the same chances, right? And even financial literacy access. Uh, if you grew up in a household where we talked about money, we were educated about money, your parents learned about money, that's amazing. That's great. But it's not everyone. Some people were born in a household when we don't talk about money, or sometimes we talk about money more from a scarcity mindset. If I'm talking about my example for my example, so my mom, she used to talk about money a lot, but it was more coming from Alexia, you have to save money. You need to save money just in case something happened, or you need to save money to buy an apartment because I was not able to buy a real estate property. So I want you, my daughter, to be able to buy a real estate property because I wasn't able to do it. So you see, it was not coming from a building generational wealth mindset. It was coming from a scarcity mindset, from a financial trauma mindset, right? So all of that is super important to understand. The mindset, but also the systemic barriers. When we're talking about the access is limited, and when we're talking about systems, we're talking about the working system, the housing system, the education system. Everything has not been done equal for everyone, right? Banking, housing, employment, education, all of that, they were not necessarily designed with everyone in mind. So it's super important to have that in mind. Another thing I'm focusing when I talk about financial literacy is building generational wealth, but building generational wellness too. Okay, so let me know in the chat if anyone knows what is building generational wealth and wellness and what do you think about it while I'm explaining what it is. So for me, building generational wellness, it's being able to build that knowledge, financial knowledge, education that will be able to be passed from generation to generation. So educating whether your children, your nieces, your nephews, your sisters, your brothers, even your parents, is being able to have that financial knowledge, that financial money, positive money mindset and abundance mindset, and pass it to other generation. And building generational wealth is about building wealth, whether it's through financial market, real estate, or other assets, and being able to pass it to other generation. And I forgot even businesses. You can, businesses, and we're going to talk about the multiple systemic barriers. But one of the biggest breaks to building generational wealth is income, wealth, and disparities in Canada, and also businesses. Okay, because if you're building a business and then you're able to keep it and pass it to future generation, this is one way of building a generational wealth. So having those numbers in mind, the fact that Black households have significantly lower home ownership rates than non-racialized households. It's 38% versus 70%, which is huge. The same thing for the median income. For Black Canadians, it remains lower than from non-racialized Canadians. I see Yelena in the chat. For me, it's financial education and transmitting peace of mind regarding to finances. That's huge. This one is huge because the way, if you have parents that are positive around money and they pass that positive mindset on you, then automatically you're going to adjust that and you're going to adopt that positive mindset. But if your parents, they have a scarcity mindset, they're always short about money, you see them always struggling, of course, this is what you will replicate. And we can see it with children when we educate them, or when we say something bad and then they repeat it, just because they see what we do, so they do the same. They don't necessarily do what we say. So that's why we have to show them and lead by example. Um, Sitali, who says being smarter with handling money, saving, etc. Love it. Juliana, financial wellness means to me, being comfortable and having a healthy relationship with money. Yes, I love that. So all of that, make sure you integrate all of this and you pass it to future generation and have this conversation with people because money is not taboo. We're able to talk uh, with friends. We can talk about, going to restaurant and our goals and all that. But when it comes to money, often it's taboo and we don't want to talk about it. For me, generational wellness is to stop hustle culture as a Black woman, welcoming the soft life. Ooh, amen to that. This one is a huge one. Absolutely. Generational wellness to stop the hustling culture, which is huge in North America and within the Black community and for Black women as well. That is true. So another systemic barriers, Black-owned businesses in Canada. Again, building businesses is one of the way to build generational wealth. And we can see that the Black-owned businesses in Canada, represent only 2.4% of all Canadian businesses, while the Black community represent way more in Canada or elsewhere. So that number is alarming. We have more and more Black businesses coming in, but we need more of it. And that number is explained because of the different breaks and systemic barriers that Black people are facing. They often also earn lower revenues. And of course, because they have lower revenues, they have less wealth, less personal savings in order to launch a business, right? Same thing for the access to grants, loans. If you go to your bank and you're a Black person, you might struggle to get that loan to build that business. Just not because of you, but because of the systems and the structure, right? It's not because of you personally. Another barriers to funding and trust in institution, what I was talking about, whether we're talking about banks, organization giving grants, and all that. 75% of Black entrepreneurs, they say accessing capital is hard, and only around approximately 90% trust banks to act in their best interest. So most of the time, what Black people will do, it's rely on their own finance and savings or ask people to lend them money. But even that, I don't know a lot of people in around me that would have lent me money when I was wanting to launch my business 123 Finance. So again, that's another systemic barrier that we need to be aware of. Another one, so why these numbers matter. We talked about it already. Barriers mean missed opportunity. As I told you, it's structural, meaning it's the systems, even the saving system, the retirement system. Everything in this world has not been made for Black people the same way it hasn't been made for women. We know that. It has been made for men and for a non-racialized community, right? So when something happened to you, it's not personal, it's structural. And unfortunately, we have to focus on the thing we can control. And this is what I want to talk about today. The systems, the structure, it is what it is. The politicians, it is what it is. We cannot do anything outside of voting, and taking accountability for the actions, our actions. Okay, so this is what we're gonna talk about today. So now let's start and do a small reflection prompt with all that we talked about regarding systemic barriers and systems, education, work, banking, funding, and all that. I want you to take, let's say, 2, 3 minutes and think about those two guided prompts. So think about your first memory of money. Who had access? Who didn't? What was modeled to you about saving, debt, risk, or survival? And now ask yourself which of these beliefs came from choice and which came from systems. So let's take 2, 3 minutes to do it. It's 32. Do it. Do not hesitate to use your notebook or use the chat, and I'm gonna ask you to share in the chat. So I'm gonna give you 2 minutes, and then after that, I'm also gonna share one of my example, and we can discuss. Let's do 1 more minute. Do not hesitate to share already in the chat if you already wrote something on your notebook, so that I can read it in the chat. And if it's easier for you, do not hesitate to raise your hand so that you can unmute yourself. I see Becky. My memories growing up, save as much as possible. Don't spend, use unless you really need it, and then try to get a good deal. Debt is irresponsible unless it's a mortgage. But the man of the household can be treats and things is interested if the mood strikes him. Ooh, wow. That's huge, Becky. So you said your memories growing up, I guess it's coming from what you've heard in your household, maybe your parents and all that. That's huge. And again, this memory is shaping the way you're thinking about money, Becky, your mindset about money. You know, what is good, what is bad about money? What should I do? What shouldn't I do? I shouldn't do a mortgage because it's irresponsible unless if it's a mortgage to buy a house, right? So yeah, all of that is definitely shaping the way you think and act about money, whether you want it or not, so your memories are going to have an impact on your relationship with money, your actions with money. Anyone else wants to share in the chat or mute themselves? I don't see anyone, so
Sorry.
yeah, I can hear something.
Yeah, it's Sitlali.
Sitlali?
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
go
I
ahead.
just wanted to share about I am from Mexico, and up to a few decades ago, a woman couldn't get a credit card or a loan from a bank without a husband's approval. And it just those perceptions still linger, and a lot of women in general in my country don't feel confident to handle their own money. Even after divorce or just being single, they leave this responsibility to somebody else, normally a parent or a boyfriend even. So it just, the perception still lingers, and this stereotype or paradigm that women are not smart for money, it's just very damaging. I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Sitlali. Um, and thank you for sharing because it's real. You're talking about your real experiences, and this still happens right now. Um, Now I'm just curious. So I guess you're in Canada now, Sitlali. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself again or share in the chat, but how did you go about overcoming those thoughts and those limiting beliefs and kind of a financial trauma? Because to me it is. How do you go about overcoming this?
Thank you. Yes, I live in Toronto now for 10 years, and I can see the differences and also the progress. Don't get me wrong, Mexico is also a progressive mindset. Not in every town, but the big cities are quite progressive and advanced towards money. But in general, I see this still going on, the pervasive belief that women cannot handle money smart, or in a smart way, or we are not efficient enough or ambitious enough, or all those lingering mindset. I am still struggling overcoming that, to be quite honest, because I didn't get proper education growing up. So
Mm.
I still struggle with concepts. I am constantly trying to learn all those concepts about credits and compound interest, all those things. And it's just harder to learn when you are older.
Mm. Thank you for sharing, Sitlali. And that is real. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, educating people, breaking those past generational trauma. Because, you get that education from your parents, and then you're supposed to get it at school, and then you don't get it. And you grew up with all that. And then, you have to learn it by yourself. So it's either you go on Google and you don't know what's true, what's false, or you go to a financial advisor at the bank, but then you don't necessarily trust them because, of course, if it's CIBC, they're going to sell you CIBC products or they're going to explain what's working for them. If it's RBC, the same. So I don't like I've worked in banks for more than 10 years. This is where I learned everything. But the banks, they are part of the systems, and they're going to do things that are working for them, not necessarily for us. That's why when you're learning, it's cool to have use resources, whether it's having a financial literacy educator or financial coach, or maybe an accountability group on WhatsApp with other people trying to achieve the same things. We have podcasts, books, influencers on Instagram if it's your thing. But I think that in order to empower yourself, you have to understand that you're not by yourself, and you have to reach out to the good people. Or maybe it can be an independent financial advisor, right? One that is not linked to one specific bank. But shout out to you, Sitlali, to doing this and empowering yourself and using a credit card if this is what you want to use, and breaking those generational trauma, and also understanding that in the future, if you have nephews, nieces, or kids, you won't necessarily put those financial trauma through them. I think this is the important point we need to remember. I see some comments now. First memory of money was my mom telling me to have a good job as a dentist so I could fix her teeth and also buy her a mansion. So unconsciously, I was being told we didn't have any money, even though my parents had some then. Yes, yes. So then you grow up with this kind of scarcity mindset. It's not easy. It's not easy. Juliana, take things as it is. Whatever money you get is what you deserve, even if it feels like a small amount. Wow. This one is home. Me, I had the one, money doesn't grow up on tree, huh? You have to use your money properly. Like don't spend your money like that, right? It's not easy. It's not easy to get money. You have to work hard for it. Did you grow up around Christianity? Your comment reminded me of the parable of the talents. Oh, I love those conversations. I love it. That's amazing. I'm gonna share. I don't see anything more in the chat. I'm gonna share my experience. So one of the most marking experience was me growing up. I'm Congolese and was born and raised in Paris. I grew up in the suburbs, is in a small neighborhood, and then I went to school to Paris, and I went to the university at in Paris at Dauphine University, and there it was in my classroom. We were maybe three or four black people, black and brown people, and a lot of white people around me, people who do not look like me. So imposter syndrome, and you're like, okay, do I belong here? And I was doing a master degree, finance, so learning about finances and all that. And in my class, one of them day, a girl came and she was like, "Oh, I have an apartment in Paris. Me and my brother, we each have an apartment because my parents they bought that apartment, those two apartments. So me, I'm gonna live in this one, and my brother is gonna live in this apartment and all that." In one of the richest neighborhood in Paris near Vincennes, and I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Me, I'm hearing my mom saying I need to save money because you don't know what can happen and all that. And you feel that difference between you and the other privileged people, and it eats you, right? And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing now. It's helping people break those generational trauma and build generational wealth. And I'm doing this with my niece. She's 3 years old and a half. She's gonna turn 4 years old in June. And even if my sister doesn't have a lot of money, I told my sister, okay, we're going to open an insurance policy. So in France, it's called an insurance policy. We're going to put 200 euros, and you're going to put even 50 euros every month towards that. And because I know about money, investing, and all that, I'm going to invest that money so that my niece, Alicia, when she's going to turn 25 years old, and she's going to go to university maybe if she wants to, she's going to be one of those person now, even if she's not white. She's going to be one of those person telling, hey, I have that amount of money because my aunt and my mom, they saved that money, they invested that money for me, and now I know how to budget and all that. It's not just about passing generational wealth through that insurance policy, but it's also passing the generational wellness through how to budget, how to save your money, and be also mindful when you use it. So this is just an example to tell you that, you know, we have to do it. We have to do it, and it's possible. Yes, the systems are against us, but what do we do then? We just roll on the floor and we stop. We have to act and take the small actions we can have, right? Juliana, are you taking niece applications, Alexia? I know a really nice 34-year-old niece. I love it, Juliana. So yeah, we're laughing and all that. That's amazing. But yeah, it's just to raise awareness and to tell you that each of us at our level, we can do something. I was able to do that for my niece, but I could not do it also. But I decided to do it. So we have to decide to take action and be accountable. Okay, so again, financial healing, I think we talked about it already. It's all about raising awareness, whether talking to your friends and make an accountability group, whether talking about your nieces, your nephew, your children, your brother, your sister, your parents. Me, I put a lot of efforts talking to my mom, and I know that it's like a lost cause a little bit. So I'm trying to focus more on my sisters, my friends, my brothers, and build that generational wellness so that when my niece grow up, she's gonna be like financially literate, right? I'm more trying to rely on the new generation than the old generation, unfortunately, but this is only my take. Having compassion, getting support, emphasizing equity and choice, making sure you're doing the right choice for yourself. When you look at your expenses and your expenses are they aligned with your mission, your values, your short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, right? It's all about learning how to refrain okay, I'm behind, I don't have money, I'm broke. I started with different conditions. I didn't start with the same chances, But what do I do about it now, right? Leveraging community and collecting wealth. So whether it's the group resources, the information you have through podcasts, books and all that, our parents, our grandparents, they didn't have all of those information. All of the podcasts regarding money, all of the amazing financial coach and financial literacy educators we have. They didn't have that. Now that you have it, if you have access, you need to leverage it. Okay. And asking for support is a strategy. It's definitely not a weakness. I know that it's huge within the Black community. We have to be strong. We have to do everything by ourselves, but we don't have to if we don't want to, right? We don't have to if we don't want to. I think we just need to take a minute to realize that and leverage all of the information and resources available to us. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about allyship from awareness to action. So I know there's Black people within the room, non-Black people. For allies, thank you so much for being here. Your goal is to learn about the history, learn about the systemic barriers, attending workshops like this to understand more about the history, what are Black people living right now, question the system, question people around you, and most importantly, advocate. Advocate for Black people, advocate when you see inequalities, when you see something that's not working, asking yourself who's missing from decision making at those tables, who gets financial education and how, and who benefits from neutral policies. All of those questions, ask it to yourself and try to just to think about one action that you could do to be a best ally this week, this month, this year. So some resources from Black people. I believe you're gonna have the recording and also the slides, so I won't go through all of those resources. But I thought it was really important to have it. There's federal national programs who help you to get grants and loans, sometimes free money with microfinancement. Business support and network, super important. Free program for Black people, for Black women, for Black Francophone entrepreneur such as Futurepreneur, Begin, Black Builders Network. All of those networks, you can have access. Try to find it on Google. Try to also ask ChatGPT to help you. Hey, I have this list of resources. Do you know any other resources? Black Builders Network. I think that the huge thing with those resources is we have resources, a lot of resources for Black entrepreneurs in Canada, but sometimes it feels like it's too much because you don't know where to start. So just start small, but put a reminder in your calendar to be like, okay, I'm going to research 3 different Black resources for Black entrepreneurs, and I'm going to register to the court. I'm going to start the court. And then if I do a court that's 3 months from January to March, then in April, I put another reminder and then to look for another resources. Try to use all of the resources that are available for you because sometimes you're just missing out free money. And for Black entrepreneurs, when you're applying for grants, try to find those grants that are specific for Black entrepreneurs or Black women entrepreneurs or Black women Francophone entrepreneurs because you have more chances to get those. For the grants, I'm guilty myself. It takes a lot of times. I've applied to a lot of grants. I have not gotten one since a year of business, and some I will do application and then get discouraged and stop to do it. So maybe if you can someone to help you and do the applications for you, that's also great. But really don't sleep on free resources and free money. Now I have a group prompt before we go to the questions, if there's any question. What's one insight, one shift, or one action that you think you're ready to take that week, this month, or this year, or maybe once every month, as a Black people or as an ally? It can take some times to think about it, but what's that one thing you think you can implement and do to help raising awareness and help Black people do better in this world that was not made for Black people? So please share in the chat, or do not hesitate to also unmute yourself. I'll give you some time to think about it. It's a safe space. No one is judging. But yeah, with all that we talked about, that's just one insight that you got from that presentation and one shift, one action you're willing to take. I want to know. Yelena says sharing resources with people, putting in place a monthly money day to review my finances. This one is a great one. Kudos, bravo, Yelena. Sitlali, spread the word about these types of workshop program. Yes, absolutely. Let's do it. Let's spread the word. By the way, shameless plug, I have another event that that Juliana in this chat is co-hosting, and I'm gonna be part of the panel. It's on next week on February 19th. It's gonna be about Black love and the function, like the way Black love is working with, again, all of those systemic barriers and all that. So Sandra, I appreciated learning about the systemic barriers Black entrepreneurs face in business. The reminder to seek out community support was also helpful to me. Yes, that's great. And also, when I was sharing all of those resources for Black people, there's also a lot of resources for Black Entrepreneurs Network where you can have access to a network of Black entrepreneurs. So, Allies, it's another way to support and empower the Black community. It's, buying from a Black business, going to a Black restaurant, or you need a consultant, or any, use a black person if you want to empower and be an ally. One shift is to be kinder to myself as I am forging my own path to financial wealth in comparing. Wow, this one is beautiful. Love that. Before joining the group, I found helping students understand borrowing private loans and how it differs from federal student loans. Amazing. Amazing. Shameless plug. Thanks, Juliana, for sharing. I think one thing we can do is to also ensure that we pay for Black people's labor. Wow, Juliana, this one is huge, and you're doing an amazing job at that. But yeah, it's about paying Black people for their job and not do free labor all the time. This one is huge. Unfortunately, getting the students interested is harder said than done. Yes, absolutely. It is. Because students they don't really understand what's going on, what's ahead, and that's why I think making it fun and relatable, inclusive, and not so heavy, not coming and just speak for an hour. It's gonna help. And I think I want to encourage you, Kathy. You're planting seeds right there. Even you're trying to empower students. I know it's hard, but you're just planting seeds so that when they grow up, they might remember that and be like, okay, now it's time for me to actually get interested and take action. So keep your work doing going, Kathy. Juliana, yeah, go ahead.
I do. I wanted to say another thing. I have become, now that I own a business, I am more likely to invest in other people's businesses. So I won't, like, if a friend is like, oh, I'll just give it to you for free, like, I still try to pay them. So that's also one way that I give back outside of business. I find that, like, money, it flows. So when you give, you can get back. And it's not about getting back, but just having an open hand can be very hard when you feel financially stuck. But I find that when I'm at my lowest and I give even donations, I end up getting the money back.
Oh, absolutely. It's the abundance mindset right there. I give to receive. I give to receive. Kudos to you. Thank you so much, Juliana. I see it's already 1:55. I don't know if how are we doing, Karin? And so let's stay in touch. I have my QR code here. I don't know if we have time for question, if we're closing already, but thank you so much. That was an amazing conversation. Thank you for participating. Thanks for the amazing resources. I see Faiza, another amazing financial literacy educator, Francophone that is sharing amazing information right there. So don't sleep on the information and the amazing resources.
Thank you so much, Alexia, for this dynamic meeting. I feel like it was really a conversation. And that's why I like that we labeled that a conversation, like it wasn't a lecture. It was heartfelt. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, just getting us in touch with what happened since we were little. Because I didn't think about that. Now I'm understanding my approach to money
Mhm.
based on how I grew up and the systemic barrier, but I know now that I can take small steps to make my future better and the next generation as well. So thank you so much for sharing that.